G'day everybody. We have a storm coming in, and it's just been raining, so it might come off and on. Hey puss. Yeah. And there's been some lightning over there. As you'll see in a previous clip. But every time this, oh, here comes the rain again. Every time this usually happens, when you've got battery backup connected to solar or not. You know how people have solar and then battery backup. When storms come, what I do is, and I have my backup connected so you can use the main power to charge the batteries. And so what I do, every time a storm comes, and every time I've done this, it's never needed. And when it's needed, you don't do it, so it usually doesn't matter in a lot of cases. But I like to do things just in case, and it only takes a minute usually. And when something plays up, at least you find out problems and stuff like that, and that's just the way life goes. And so what I'm about to do now is give it a quick power boost to make sure that my batteries are fully charged, because when it comes to storms, you don't know when the power's going to go out. As I've seen lightning, it could be an hour away from now. And just to make sure that it's going to be a while before the power comes back on, I just like to make sure I've got plenty of power. Now I'm about to take off the main grid, which will cost me $1 or something like that. I'm not going to take much, a few dollars maybe. But to do that, it makes me feel secure, even though I'm probably wasting my time, which I've done a lot of times, when I could just charge my battery up the next day or something like that. But if it's going to be bad weather tomorrow, it'll make up, because when this solar's not as powerful, it'll use the battery back up anyway. The next day, if I overcharge the house, it still gets used either way if you use the main grid or not, because I'll go back to main grid if it doesn't bring in enough power after a certain amount of time, as it's a cloudy day or shitty day or something like that, you know what I mean? So usually it makes up in the end. I still use the power, but I try not to overuse the batteries, because every time you use the batteries too much, it has a life cycle, and it also has a life cycle time limit too anyway. So you pretty much got to use your batteries, just try to use them as efficient as you can, and not too much if you can, because you can overuse them too quickly and not get its full life cycle. So it's running off the main power now. So it looks like that, and when it runs off solar, the little solar pops up and goes, and then goes from there to there if it's just solar. And when I turn to house grid, it'll change from house to charging the batteries as well, just to boost it up. And you can pick how much and how fast you want to charge it. I can charge up to 50 amp with these batteries. Now the computer's just gone to sleep on me. I'm going to wake up. You're going to be a good computer now? It's flicking away so I can think about it. And it's just before I got to come here, it just went off on me. Don't make me do it a third time, I'm not going to bother. I'll just do the ending part this time once I get it going. But look at that! Usually it should just pop up, it's on. I think it's plugged in. We have power. That I've got to fix up. I pulled that out the other day, a while back. I fixed it and then I broke it down. I've got to put the thicker plaster screws in it to hold it up. It looks like it died. Yeah, look at that. It's like the battery's playing. What a night, eh? So we'll have third time lucky by the looks of it. See, here's the point exactly about. See, if I wasn't showing a quick point now doing this video, it would have been a little quick thing. But it ain't now, because when you work with shit, you expect shit, don't you? You know what a lot of religion people will say when people go through shit like this? They will like to say that they deserve to have it, instead of thinking maybe they shouldn't be working with shit. You know, like, why is the reason they got shit and all this kind of stuff? But you have lots of people that love to, what is it? 787. 267. Sorry, just trying to work out this password. There it is. You know what I mean? But we're back, and it come back up straight away. Yeah, I've got all these passwords. Oh, I had the wrong one for a second. And what it does, it's back now, so that's good. It wasn't completely flat, obviously, but it's woke up. Whoa! And on here, through the laptop, you can get better settings than the buttons up on the system up here, right? And it shows you the voltage, see, right? And these batteries, I think the max can go up to 60 volts or something like that, but they like to be at 58, right? It's roughly what you can keep them at, but depends on how old the batteries are and how you can boost them up to it and stuff like that. But I keep it at a float level, like you can boost the battery up and keep the power on and keep the batteries charged, but once you kick it off the batteries and they're using power, they'll drop down, and you got to make a float level and stuff like that. So the float level is usually at 55.5, so I don't let it drop down lower voltage than that, so it does, play up or anything. But anyway, I'll go into it and we'll activate the power, turn up the floating, so it gives it a boost, otherwise it won't pass that. And the boost, it only needs to boost every now and then, because I don't like to keep it at a high boost. I looked it up, and it's best not to keep them overcharged, like charged up too high, too much. Anyway, it's hard to explain. But this is what I do. I go shabam. You're best to learn when you go through all this. You learn a lot of little tactics over time. And now what's going to happen is it's dropped across there. And now it's charging the battery. And I'll show you here. And we're going from, because we're running off the system now, so the battery's at 53.7. So we're a bit under 55.5, aren't we? So that's the charge if it dropped to it. So what it's going to do, it's going to boost it up so it's full charge, and then when it's going to do it real quick, so it gets there, and what it's going to do, it'll go to 55 or 56, and it'll sit there for a bit, and it'll just boost up that last little boost charge and really fill up a little bit more, and then because that last little bit tends to drop real quick, so I just give it a quick boost, make sure it's full, it'll sit there and go, yep, battery's not wanting to charge anymore. These have automatic computer chips in it and stuff like that. They stop them from being overcharged, and you don't want them. That's why I've got this level 2, because they can go up to 60. You don't want to put too much in it, because these things here will shut off, and if you get one of these shut off at a 48 watt system, volts I mean, not watt, the whole lot's not 48, and this thing will have a fit, and the whole thing will shut off, because it's not 48 watt, 2 sections now, and you'll have to reset the whole system, which can be a pain. So usually I have to wait, or if they go flat, one of them goes flat, you got to recharge it. So I've got 12. These are 12 watt volts. I've got a 12 watt battery, and I've got to figure out which one shut off, and then I have to recharge it separately, disconnect it, reach it, get it connected. So when it shuts off, it won't start up until you go to recharge. It's very annoying, but that's what it does. It's meant to sort of reset, but it doesn't. Once you get too flat, it'll just stay like that, and you won't get nothing going until you get the charger, put it on, and then you'll notice it needs, it's got no light, like it's turned on. As soon as you go to give it a charge, it puts the light on, a little bit of a charge, then you can re-hook it up, and away you go again. It's a bit annoying with that part, because this system sort of likes the old acid batteries or gel battery cells instead of lithium, because these are more for camping by yourself. They've got the safety thing for camping, because these are camping lithium batteries that I got cheap, and I've just hooked them up like that instead of having a house battery system, because that's what you have, the same lithium batteries in Tesla house battery. And so I made my own one, and I did all that pretty cheaply, and that is a cost of that's a 2.6 kilowatt or something like that for up to 8 hours system. You can look it up. It's pretty good, as you can see, times 135 per hour. So that there, when it says 135 amp an hour, right, that means you can use that much in an hour. That's what it stores. So if you're using 135 amp, you've only got an hour. If you use less, then that's what you got, up to 135 amps. So you just add all them up, boom, 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 boom. And each one of these have, I think, 2,700 volts for an hour. roughly what that was. Right, so I can go 2,500 volts up to 8 hours, and we only usually use 700, but that's for full charge to flat, right? How they say that, because I've tested these sometimes, and so what I've noticed, you roughly half that, and that's what you get. So that's what I get. And then when I use my power, I usually, with the fridge, because when the fridge kicks in, when things kick in and out, the fridge uses 2,000, but it's in and out, so it's hard to roughly know what you're using. So I would say roughly 700, but that's when the fridge is not on. But then when the fridge is on, we're using that network, so it's off and on, so it's hard to judge exactly how much power. All I can say is how long it roughly lasts. If I've got the TV going, the fridge going, fans going and stuff like that, we get roughly 8 hours to 10 without turning off things. I've tested all this a little while back, but it'd be less now, and that was a few years ago, and every year you get less and less time when it comes to batteries. And I'm pretty sure these ones were 2,000 cycles, so it'll have a chart that says brand new green, and then as it goes down 200 cycles, you'll go out of green to red, and that means the charge is not as good, and they're losing charge and life and cycles, because they keep going down. So every time a battery goes down, it's a cycle. So you try to, and if you're floating up here, which is a lot of these batteries do, you're wearing out the top batteries cycle a lot, and so your batteries don't last as long. But then you've got this little part, so your batteries are like half as strong, they'll last half as long, but they'll keep going because they've got to cycle out. You see? So what you try to do is you keep the floats up and then wear it down like that if you can, and by not overusing it, and then you can get up to 10 years, because eventually it'll die anyway, but you try to spend that out. So it's got to be like computer algorithm that I was talking about one day that can work out this kind of thing to make batteries last a little bit longer, or tell us how more efficient they can last. But we'll get there in the future when it comes to that, because these people throw out lithium batteries all the time because they're not charging that long. That means half of them could be still, 1,000 cycles or more, because you've always charged it up here, and now you're just sick of your battery not lasting long. The last, say 20 cycles, you're like, oh, my battery's not. There's still plenty of good batteries there. You can check them. You can open these up, and they're just a whole bunch of little batteries, and you can check which ones, how much power they got, and how good they still are, and you can check them. And then you keep all the good ones, and you take out half. So between these two, if it was a half lithium battery and they only last half the life, it still means there could be good batteries in there, like I was talking about at the end. And what you can do is they pull them out, and then you find the good batteries, and then you put the half of the good ones in there and half the good ones in there into that one, and then you can make one good battery. So when these go to die, and if I've still got time, if the time limit hasn't run out, but the cells just die over time, I can, and more likely can, because people do this all the time, definitely electricians and stuff. I looked them up years ago. You can pull these out, and you can get kits too. You can buy these separately, and holders. They're all in little holders, and little tops you can put on, and how you solder them up and stuff. You can look it up on the internet. And you can pull these out, and then I can get 4 batteries from maybe another, 5 years or so. They say up to 10, 20 years, 15 years cycle from when it's made to it'll be eventually be completely fucked. But there you go. So I thought I'd explain that to you, because I'm going to try that later on in the future, and get this little kit for the inside and a tester to find out that thing, and because they're expensive, and redo that myself. People can do these themselves, but a lot of people just go through tax and stuff like that, or don't know the knowledge properly. And electricians will get these batteries all the time if they're replacing, or the big Tesla ones, because it's the same thing in the inside. And then they can get 2 old ones and make a good one and sell it off. That's how they make extra money. Or businesses could do the same thing. Right? If business has got a few of them, they should pull it out, get an employee to go through it and save money. Right? But anyway, I shouldn't say that, because electricians wouldn't like that, because they get the batteries. But I'm not saying they still wouldn't get batteries. Saying this and letting some businesses do it, because you do have lazy people and plenty of money, so that's what they won't bother all that. But there you go. So we've currently got 2 amp in now. It's all finished. It's not pumping in the 20 that I've set it to do. So that means she's boosted right up. She has. It was already charged. Didn't take long to boost up. I was already right. I cut it off, went to house power when it was roughly 200 watts still coming in, and just to boost the battery, because we were using 700 at that time. The last little bit is what I usually do. So it boosts up. So if a problem does happen, we've pretty much got full battery. So there you go. Say bye-bye, people, and I'm going to turn this off because we're all done. Let's go to it. solar only now, because then now it'll just charge through solar. Okay, bang. And then you put the flame level to 55.5. And there we go. It goes, oh good, thank you, so good. And then you can disconnect your laptop. So that's a laptop connection to help you change a little bit more settings. And all this, when you go to buy these things, can be done by yourself, because it's a system pretty much like ultimate camping power system is what it is. All this system is set up, and how you can do things is it's your own code. You can have this set up exactly in a caravan. This is how you would power your caravan, or a backup system like a hospital has, where they have backup power systems that kick in when power goes out. Because when the power goes out, see how off grid now. See, the power goes out, that just automatically kicks in. We might get a flicker of the lights for a second, but then we still have power. That's how this system works. Anyway, people, bye-bye, and have a good one. See ya. Bit of a blab in the ambulance, 16 minutes.